Hey everyone, I'm Brad Morrison with GoWP, and I'd like to welcome you to this webinar on generating leads and closing more deals with website audits. Also joining us today is Adrian Luna with Liquid Web.
How you doing, guys?
And Clifford Almeida with My Web Audit.
Hey there.
Before we get started, I want to make sure you can see and hear me. So if you don't mind, over in the chat section on the right, please type your name and where you're joining us from. Hey, Alex. Excellent. Danny, I see you from Atlanta. Roger from San Diego. B from England. Thanks for joining us. We got folks from all over, so got a real good group. So thanks for. I'm assuming you can hear and see me. So we'll move on. Looks like we're all set. You can use this section to ask questions throughout the webinar. We'll be monitoring it, and Cliff will pause occasionally to address your questions. So feel free to chime in, ask questions, give comments throughout the webinar. We'll also have a formal Q&A section at the end of the webinar, so please stick around for that. We do expect this to last around 1 hour, and we are recording it. We'll send this out in the next day or two, so if you do have to hop off, you will get it via email. This webinar is sponsored by GoWP and Liquid Web. Our goal with this is to provide helpful content for WordPress agencies and web professionals. And if there's interest, we'll do more of these. So we do value your feedback. Let me know what you think. Let me know if there are any other topics you'd like for us to explore and bring in an expert speaker on. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Adrian to give you a little more background and talk about Liquid Web.
How you doing, guys? So as Brad said, my name is Adrian Luna. I'm the Partner Programs Manager here at Liquid Web. My focus, honestly, is just to consistently make constant improvements to our partnership programs, and just to make sure that we're linking up with the right types of companies that'll help us grow and really help us wrap our arms around our clients and make sure that we're doing right by them. So with that said, I just wanted to give you a quick background on Liquid Web. Cliff, can you pop the slides up on the screen? And while he's doing that, I just wanted to give you guys a quick background on who we are and where we come from. So Liquid Web is a managed hosting company. We've been in the space for a little bit over 20 years now. More importantly than that is the fact that Liquid Web has really built our company based on a very support-centric culture, right? So what we've done really is with this partnership piece, we're really trying to specialize in building a partner network of companies that operate in the same space that we do. So it's important to understand that, the three of our companies together, what are our capabilities, what space are we in, and the size of our typical clients and things like that. So usually what we would do is we would take a client that's a little bit over, or a partner in this instance, that's kind of grown out of the smaller shared hosting space, but isn't necessarily in that larger enterprise level of management that's needed. So we operate right in that SMB to mid-market space. And that's important to note, just to understand, what our capabilities are. And really, being a support-centric hosting company, our objective is to make sure that we make everyone feel like they're a large fish in a small pond instead of the other way around. As great as our support is, though, we have over 30,000 clients that have needs that are beyond our typical scope of support, that are beyond something that we would typically handle. So that's right. That's why it's important that we partner up with Brad's team over at GoWP, with Cliff's team over at My Web Audit, right? And the good thing is that we've shown proven success in this model. Specifically, we have a mutual client. Her name's April Weir. She's over at Sugar 5 Designs, and I just read it right up the screen. I mean, she said, I have a focus area with medical providers. Liquid Web's HIPAA compliant server gives me a secure, fast environment for my client's web presence. With My Web Audit, I can highlight weaknesses in a prospective client site. And the first thing I recommend for my healthcare clients is to migrate them to my dedicated server at Liquid Web's top-notch hosting environment. And the experts at GoWP can take care of any WordPress issues that need to be improved. So this is really like a first-hand accounting of what this type of partnership and what it looks like when the three of our companies really wrap our arms around, somebody like April over at Sugar 5. So this is honestly something that we're looking to replicate. We have success here in other instances as well. And this is really the point where I want to turn it back over to Cliff so he can get, into the actual specifics of what the webinar is all about.
Thank you so much, Adrian. All right, so real quick, for those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Clifford Almeida. I'm married to my best friend and have two beautiful daughters. I love to travel around the world. So I built my first website at age 16 decades ago. I got paid $400 for my first website. I'm sure many of you have a similar story, right? I've come a long way since. I run a web agency here in Phoenix called HireWiz. I also run a software as a service called My Web Audit that helps web agencies like ours generate more leads and close more deals, right? So we've worked with everyone from successful startups to Fortune 500 companies. Honestly, working with some of these large companies isn't as cool as you would think, right? It comes with its own challenges. But the awesome thing is that the sales process that I'll be sharing with everyone today is effective and works with mom and pop shops as well as large multi-million-dollar companies. All right, so who's this webinar for? It's for web agency owners, web professionals, freelancers of all kinds and sizes. The strategies and systems we'll be covering today will be effective and have been leveraged by hundreds of web companies that range from solopreneurs making less than 100,000 to seven-figure web agencies, right? So this is going to be perfect for you if you're looking for a way to deliver more value to your prospects and customers faster and easier. If you're looking for a proven lead generation system that can scale with you as needed, and that if you're looking for a way to close more deals and grow your business faster and easier. Along the way, if you have any questions, please type them in and Brad and Emily will reach out as needed. I'll stop in a few areas to answer any questions that you may have that are pertinent to this section, and the rest will have a Q&A at the end. All right. So for those of you who are struggling, can any of you relate with any of these problems, right? Are you frustrated trying to generate leads on a consistent basis? Are you wasting a lot of time with tire kickers who only end up going MIA once they get your proposal? Have you been struggling to figure out how to deliver value so that you can charge what you're worth? Are you tired of being treated as a commodity? Are you tired of losing deals to the lowest bid? Are you struggling to stand out from the competition? And are you frustrated of not being able to close enough deals from prospects to customers, right? What would life look like if you did not have to deal with a lot of these problems in your business today? Well, over the next 35 to 40 minutes or so, we'll be covering exactly how you can leverage website audits in your business to solve problems like this and more. At the end of the day, our goal here is to give you actionable strategies that you can implement and grow your business immediately, right? So we're not looking at something here where you take this and you're like, oh my gosh, it's gonna take me weeks or hours or even, to be able to do this. Literally within 30 to 60 minutes, you'll be able to implement some of these things in your business. And our goal is, obviously, today is October 2nd, I believe, right? By the end of this week, you should be able to see results from what we're sharing with you today, okay? So I'll be showing you My Web Audit and the exact system and framework that our agency, as well as hundreds of others, have implemented to generate more leads and close more deals in their business. So please pay attention, take notes. This webinar is jam-packed with value. And if you have any questions, again, please type them in and we'll either address them along the way or at the end of the Q&A session.
Cliff, someone just asked if the slides will be available. We will make the slides available after the webinar as well as the recording.
That's correct. All right. Okay, cool. So I figured out a system and process that can consistently get our agency results. But most, if not all of you here know, before you do things right, you usually have to learn by doing it the wrong way tons and tons of times, right? So I've learned this the hard way after spending 1 to 2 hours, really 3 to 5 hours, 5 to 7 hours, to be honest with you. I don't even recall, right? It's been honestly, I would say months, if not more, over the years since we've leveraged the audit systems and continued to grow it. It's been astronomical. I wish I could have the time back, and I'm hoping that some of the information shared here will not only save you time, but make you money. All right, so we've been using audits since 2014, okay? In some form or another for over a decade. We've been committing, we've committed to put this into our agency as part of our sales process and lead gen process about 4 years ago. Here you can see this animated GIF, right? And this animated GIF here ultimately is just what we used to do as far as web audit reports. We would charge somewhere around $999, and it would go up from there depending on how in-depth it needed to be. So our process worked like this. I'm guessing it's very similar to those of you who are leveraging audits in your business already. We would run reports from popular tools like Raven, Moz, WooRank, and several others. And the reason we did multiple reports is because, for example, Moz was great on SEO, Raven on technical, and WooRank did some of the web stuff, right? And then we would have to compile them into specific sections and then compile them into one single report. We would then have to reword everything because at the end of the day, most of these audit systems were built for web agency owners, technical developers, SEOs, things like that, and not for the business owner. So then finally, we would spend hours formatting all of these reports to look good, make sure that it was in terms that could be understood and valued by our prospects or customers, and then present it to them. This process worked for us. It was profitable. But the problem was it was very, very time consuming, and the cost of leveraging several different application platforms month to month did add up. And I knew there had to be a better way, right? So aside from the logistics of running website audits, there were specific business challenges that we had to face. I'm guessing that those of you who are on this call, there are a few of you who are probably facing this, because from the hundreds of web agencies who've leveraged the system, they've shared similar ones, right? So some of the common problems that we've heard before are things like, I know what web design is, obviously I do it, and the basics of SEO, but I don't know all the ways that I can help when it comes to page performance, things like conversion optimization. I know a little bit about these areas, but I don't know enough about how to present them confidently and sell them, right? Others where I can see the value of positioning the insights that we identified in these audits, but I don't know how to leverage them in my lead generation process. I don't know how to use them effectively in the sales process to establish credibility and close more sales, build trust, sell on value, things like that. Other people said things like, I don't have an easy way, or I don't have an effective way to prove the value I bring to my prospects during the sales cycle, right? I kind of rely on my referrals, and then I tell them about the great reviews I have. I show them some portfolio items, and then I try to sell them on that. And then others say, I've ran audits, but I don't know how to effectively present them in a way that they could be understood. So if any of you can relate to any of these problems, well, there's good news, right? We will be there and covering specific areas on how you can solve these specific problems, right? The truth is, at the end of the day, after years of trial and error, I discovered 3 key secrets. If there's anything that you want to take away from here, just remember this, right? Especially if you don't follow the same process we're doing, that there were just 3 simple truths that were right in front of us that we did not apply. They were common sense, right? So what we learned was this. 1, we needed to measure what mattered to the prospect. So for example, if a prospect came to us with 5,000 monthly visitors and the business was not getting any leads, and they started talking to us about generating more traffic, we would have to specifically focus on the fact that they're not converting the existing traffic. So getting more traffic was not something that we would really be discussing with them, because that wouldn't help. Then we needed to make sure that we prioritize the information based off of their goals, right? So for example, if 50% of the traffic in the case we discussed above was being sent to landing pages that were being viewed by mobile, but the landing page was not mobile optimized, instead, again, of trying to generate more traffic or propose an entire website redesign strategy, we would look to optimize it for mobile, right? So that way we would be able to deliver a quick win versus trying to overhaul the entire system. And then in regards to return on investment, let me give you a tip, right? So return on investment is not always measured by money. For example, hosting, right? Most people think of hosting as just something they take for granted. But those of us in this space, We know that hosting is just hosting till your site gets hacked or the network goes down and then takes your site down. That's why utilizing a reliable hosting company like Liquid Web matters. When you're looking at things like HIPAA compliance, that might just be a term for you, but there's a lot of legal ramifications and financial liability if you're not, right? So hosting is just hosting till you understand that there's a business need behind it and you're able to position the ROI. Another thing is business owners often wonder why they should pay you for WordPress support for plugin updates when they can just supposedly go in and click a button to update a plugin, right? Till something goes horribly wrong. So remember, return on investment or ROI can be time saved. It could be ease of use that you're providing with the application. It could be less stress knowing that the website is secure and will remain up and not go down. It allows them a peace of mind. That's return on investment. So yeah, we track return on investment financially, and that's really, really important. But we built an amazing tool around that to be able to do this effectively. But just remember that being able to measure things like time, ease of use, peace of mind, things like that make a big difference. Okay, and then remember that no matter what system you use, when you're presenting the information, make sure that it's presented in a way that's valued and can be understood, right? So, for example, we take acronyms like SEO or PPC for granted. Make sure that people understand what that means. And not just so much what it means, but why it benefits them, right? So this is the biggest problem with agencies using automated audit reports, right? They say, hey, guys, I got this tool from, from this application, AppSumo, whatever, and I just run reports and I send them out, and then it's crickets, right? Or ultimately I don't convert, and that's because a lot of these automated reports can be overwhelming to the prospect of the client. Oftentimes it's cryptic and it just doesn't make sense. So make sure that you present it, no matter what system you use. Make sure it can be consumed easily. Make sure it can be understood and it delivers value in a way that they can understand, right? So do that, and I assure you that you will close more deals than you ever have before. So, all right, running audits for us used to be like this. For those of y'all who have family, you know what it looks like to take a holiday photo. You just kind of got to run with it, right? Running audits in our agency have been highly profitable, but ultimately it's felt like this. But after identifying what we did and leveraging the tool that we're going to show you, we now roll like this, right? So I'm going to just take a minute. Hopefully nothing happens here. And I am going to pull up a report for those of you guys. All right, so bear with me, please. I'm going to log in right into the application that we use. Oops. All right, and by the way, if you have any questions, Brad, this would be a great time to ask them. I'll answer them while we go through this.
Actually is for Adrian earlier. Adrian, if you can hear, Alex asked, is Liquid Web managed WordPress hosting HIPAA compliant as well, or just dedicated hosting?
Right, so that's a funny answer. So according to our HIPAA report, everything qualifies, right? However, you'd be hard pressed to pass an audit because a lot of the information related to our infrastructure when it comes to managed WordPress platform and how it's secured is proprietary information. So I think it's from an auditing aspect. If the auditor requests specifics, we likely wouldn't provide some of the specifics that you would need. So our recommendation, honestly, and the way we advertise our HIPAA compliant infrastructure is on a traditional dedicated build, because we can really build it to specs and give you all the checklists or the checks and balances that you need for the compliance piece. Long-winded answer, but we're going to stick with traditional dedicated servers at this point for HIPAA compliance.
Awesome. And then V also mentioned about GDPR in Europe, which obviously is a huge deal. So we've all got resources on that, Cliff, myself, and Adrian at Liquid Web. Always happy to share that information if you have any issues or need to know how we've approached that. So
yeah, we can have another hour-long webinar just on that.
Or several. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And just to add on to what Adrian said, so way before we connected, obviously, to do this workshop almost a year ago now, we had one of our clients come to us, and they have a medical startup, right? And they had HIPAA compliance issues, and that was part of the requirement of building on top of it. And so we did a ton of research, looked at several different systems, and the same question that was asked was one we went through with several different companies, led to Liquid Web, and it was exactly what Adrian said. And we ended up going with a dedicated box. It was still fairly affordable compared to the competition, which was almost double. And so we leveraged that, and the service has been amazing, and it was very affordable, and our clients been very happy. So we literally went through that entire scenario. And I would say, guys, obviously, as you do your research, do your due diligence, but check out Liquid Web first. And the only reason I say that is because I think after all the research, you're going to ultimately identify that not only by service, but by price points, they're very competitive compared to the competition out there. All right, not just a direct plug. We use them, and we love them. All right, especially under the HIPAA compliance regulations. Haven't found anything better out there. So on to the presentations, right? So guys, what I wanted to do here as we go through different things is I just want to give you context to what a report looks like, right? So leveraging the system, depending on what we're doing, right? The areas we cover are user experience, conversion optimization, SEO, performance and security. And since we're talking here with GoWP, a technical WordPress assessment, right? So when we speak to business owners, we've set this up in a couple of different ways. Depending on where it is, we may talk about a few things, and then we might cover the areas that they need to specifically work on. As you can see here,
Cliff, I can't see. I still see the struggle was real slide.
Oh, thank you. Okay, perfect, great. How about now?
Yes.
Okay, so guys, here you have an example of a website. We're going to illustrate for the presentation purposes. Here you can see the different areas we measure, and there's a couple of different ways to present the report, right? Depending on if we're meeting with the IT director there or the business owner. If we're meeting with the business owner, oftentimes we throw them into the presentation view, which is kind of like a slideshow. And here we talk about the key areas, right? So user experience, conversion optimization, SEO, and performance security. And then we have the technical WordPress assessment. And ultimately we give them a score. And then each section here gives them anchors ultimately why that specific category matters. Like under user experience, we tell them like 94% of people who've been analyzed in a study for responses said that decided that web design is the reason they mistrusted and rejected a website. Then we talk about what matters for website design and user experience, right? When we talk about conversion optimization, we look at specific areas. So I just wanted to kind of give you a high-level overview of what these reports look like, right? And then we have the detailed analysis here where you can ultimately look at areas that have failed and then go through this, right? So guys, just think about this. This is about a 30-page resource, and you can ultimately, when we'll be showing you this, you can ultimately do this in 5 or 10 minutes. When you talk about WordPress, you can identify, is it on a managed hosting plan or not? WordPress backups, quickly identify what plugins are there, which ones need to be updated, are there vulnerabilities, you name it, all of that is included in here. And this report, in essence, can be generated in 5 to 10 minutes. And okay, we have a question here. Can you customize this? The answer is yes. Yes, you can customize it, and we'll walk through that at the end. All right. Again, just wanted to give you guys an understanding of how we present it and what we actually present. And so again, you see the different information, and the way this is set up is that it is ultimately a sales tool. So at the end, you can infuse things like testimonials and a call to actions. You can present an offer with your information. You can even pixel them and potentially retarget them if you're doing a cold email outreach, or any sort of Facebook ads. But let's get back to the presentation, and give me just a second. Okay, perfect. Okay, so if you guys wait till the end, I'll ultimately show you how you can do this in less than 5 minutes. Okay, so please stick around, and then one of you, if any of you want us to actually leverage this in real time and either audit a prospect or audit one of your agency sites, all I need is you to enter the website URL, your primary location, and your primary keyword. All right, so something for that like us would be hirewiz.com, primary location Phoenix, Arizona, primary keyword would be web design company. All right, or WordPress web design. Great. So let's continue on. I don't know how many of you have heard about the leaky bucket theory, but in most cases, when a business owner reaches out to our agency, it's because they want to generate more revenue, right? That's the biggest problem they're generally facing. And their ideal solution in their mind revolves around them wanting to ultimately get more business by generating more traffic, right? So they want something like SEO, they're looking for social media marketing or PPC. Most often than not, more traffic is really not the most effective solution for them. Why? Because of this leaky bucket theory, right? Generally, it applies to their business. What we tell them is that driving more traffic to their site that is not optimized to convert visitors into leads or customers is like trying to fill a leaky bucket with more water instead of trying to plug the holes first. So how do we do that, right? The solution for that comes specifically from the audit system. So over the years, we realized that in order to build a successful website, in order to ultimately generate more leads and customers, we needed to take care of 4 different areas, right? So that was user experience. User experience is how professional and user-friendly a website is. Conversion optimization, how well is the site optimized to convert website visitors into customers? Those could be things like accolades, trust factors, reviews, case studies, things like that. Right? And then you have performance and security. How fast and secure is the website, right? Has it been hacked? Does it have an SSL? What's the page speed looking like? Things like that. And then obviously SEO, search engine optimization, online visibility. How well is the site optimized to rank well on search engines like Google? There are other areas such as, hosting when you're looking at HIPAA compliancy. Then as we heard before, there are several, Adrian had mentioned, right, that in order to complete HIPAA compliancy, there's different audit points. And so there are several different things you might be looking for. If you're doing compliance work with nonprofits, then you may need to look at accessibility. So whatever that may look like, you can leverage your audit tool or you can leverage ours to add different points. But the key areas we cover, not to overwhelm, are the ones that were covered, right? So all of these audits include these specific categories. And then we oftentimes include the technical WordPress audit as well in order to talk to them specifically about vulnerabilities and other areas that are important to their business. All right. So the goal here is, how do you stand out from the competition? For those of you, who have focused on sales, that ultimately, you close a sale when a prospect's perceived value of your offering is higher than their investment in your service, right? That's the bottom line. So we have created a simple 4-step process and this method here that ultimately has dramatically increased the number of sales in our business, right? So it's the GIVE principle. GIVE stands for G for generosity, I for information, V for value, and then E for education, right? So I'm going to briefly go through that framework, right? No matter what you're doing in your business, what you want to do is start by giving your value, be generous, give your prospects something that they'll be interested in, right? In our case, we use a website audit and a strategy session to cover it. I is for information. Your prospect is facing an expensive problem. No matter what that might be, they're facing something that needs to be addressed, right? So every day they sit down with this problem and now you've identified them and it's costing them money. So you give them all the information on how to solve this expensive problem, and then you present it as an opportunity, right? Not here's all these problems and your website sucks. No, you present them as an opportunity for them to make. And so that if they make it, it can help save them money by letting you fix the problem for them or potentially make more money, right? And then value. Value is really, really important. When you focus on delivering value, you're not just trying to focus on making the sale, right? Ultimately, when you deliver the right amount of value, you build trust, and that ultimately brings the sale in naturally. You should know this by personal experience. Obviously going in to look at a car or a home, ultimately the bottom line is you may love a car, but not the experience that may come with it if the person is just trying to sell you, right? So trust us. If you're looking to deliver value instead of pushing to make the sale will sort itself out, right? E is for education. Now that you've been generous and you've given them information and you've delivered the value, it's important to educate them, right? You want to make sure that you've put the information in context to their business. How? Educate them on the problem they're facing, present it as an opportunity, and then ultimately this step will help you build trust. When you build trust, it establishes you as an expert. It gives you the ability to take charge of the conversation, And then when you're able to effectively educate them with this, they're like, wow, okay, you change the conversation from you have these problems and we're looking to speak to multiple people to see who's the right one and who's the most affordable to, hey, how can I work with you? Right? So ultimately, website audits enable you to deliver tremendous value to your prospects and customers with little to no commitment on their part, right? So unless you're charging them hundreds of dollars for an actual audit, you're now able to deliver value upfront. So here we're going to be covering some of the benefits of website audits, right? So website audits allow you to personalize your services to their needs so that the prospect isn't just looking at it as, oh, this is web design or this is SEO, and you're not talking about it in theory. Now that you've done a website audit, you can say something like, look, your website is not responsive. Your page speed, for example, is 51 out of 100 versus, hey, you need page optimization. What does that really mean to them, right? And then when you put it in context to tell them that most people leave your site in 4 to 6 seconds if it doesn't load up properly, now you can talk to them specifically about what that problem is causing in their business, right? Audits can also help you identify challenges in things like SEO, conversion optimization they were not even aware of, right? So how many of you have had clients say things right after launch? Things like, hey, I read this blog and it said like I needed schema tags. I assume you added schema tags, right? And then we laugh because that was not something that was even discussed along the way. And then we're either forced to do it or we have to have a tough conversation with them about potentially what is the cost in order for, or the investment in order for them to add that. And so by doing an audit upfront and identifying specific areas, you're able to speak to them about those areas of opportunity ahead of time. And you're able to present them as opportunities, right? This is an easy way to demonstrate your expertise and build trust. And an effective website audit should report and prioritize findings based on the impact it can have on the business and goals. For example, you don't try to mow a lawn when your house is on fire, right? So by prioritizing, you can not only get your foot in the door when the prospect does not have a budget to do a complete redesign, you can actually identify ways that you can deliver wins faster. Okay? And so by successfully executing an audit, you should be able to be clear on how you can effectively stand out from the competition, because most people are getting onto a prospect call saying, hey, look, we have 5-star reviews. Take a look at our portfolio. We've looked at your site. It needs our services. And then you tell them, how can we do work together? Now, if you take the position of what we talked about, where you do an audit and you spend maybe 15, 20 minutes talking to them about what you've identified and then told them, hey, look, now you understand that we understand how to effectively build your website that delivers value. The next steps would be then, some sort of paid consultation, or you could go to the proposal process at that point, right? And then by doing this, you are able to clearly stand out from the competition. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those right now about the specific points. If not, I'm going to talk to you about 5 effective ways you can generate leads this week in your business by leveraging website audits. Okay. So if I don't hear any, I guess I'm not hearing anyone saying there's any questions, so I'm going to continue on. Okay, 5 ways you can ultimately generate leads in your business today. Reach out to existing clients, right? Tell them something to the effect of, and I'll be sharing a template with you later. Ultimately, tell them something to the effect of, hey, John, look, it's been a couple of months, or it's been a year or 2 since we last worked together. I'd love to work with you again. And so I wanted to let you know that I ran a website audit and I've identified these 7 or 10 different ways that you could ultimately fix these different areas and generate more leads, optimize your site for better page performance, and improve your search engine optimization, right? You can reach out to existing clients. For example, let's just say that you did a website 6 months ago or a year ago. You can now run an audit and reach out to them and be proactive and tell them, hey guys, look, I'd like to schedule a 6-month or an annual meeting and speak to you about some areas of opportunity we've identified. And oftentimes people, web agencies or web professionals, freelancers are kind of worried. They're like, well, I don't want pushback, right? I don't want them to say, well, why didn't you cover this before? And ultimately we tell them, look, Google changed its standards. For example, SSL has become a mandatory requirement. It wasn't that 6 months ago, right? Page performance has now become an indicator of an SEO ranking factor. It was not officially before, right? So you can tell them things have changed and you need to keep up with the times, right? Oftentimes people try to get into business groups, whether that's something on LinkedIn or Facebook. And then what they do is post something like, hey, I do web design. Do you need a website? Or do you need a redesign? Instead, offer something of value, right? Post something natural and organic saying, hey guys, as part of a way of giving value back, I'd love to run 3 to 5 audits for the first people who respond. Part of those audits are me giving you 10 actionable ways to be able to help you convert more visitors into customers and rank better on Google, right? Position it as value, not a sales point. And then obviously putting a website audit lead magnet on your site. So lead magnets, traditional lead magnets, like generating a PDF, like, or 10, putting up a PDF that says, hey, 10 ways to pick the right web design, or 10 mistakes when redesigning your site. Those are obviously helpful, but they're not relevant. Oftentimes they're not personalized to the business owner. And so by putting up something that ultimately delivers value, is personalized and relevant to the business when they're looking at your website, we've seen conversion rates up to 4x that of our PDF lead magnets that we've used along the way. And then obviously requesting referrals. A lot of us generate business through referrals, but you can generate way more referrals by offering something with value, right? So instead of saying, hey, we're offering a 30-minute website consultation to see if someone wants our services, just say something to the effect of, hey, we're offering a website audit. We generally would charge $3.99 for this, and we would love to offer that to your network for free. And so, for example, if you reach out to one of your existing clients, you offer them the audit, and then once they say, hey guys, I'd really love to, say, hey, look, I'd like to offer this to 3 people that you do business with that you think could benefit from it, right? And then for those of you that already have a sales team, when you do outreach, whether that's a cold email, LinkedIn, whether you do cold calling or whatever, you realize that the best way to get the best results is to be able to offer value, right? Reaching out with value and then giving something that's personalized. And so what we do whenever we try to do this, whenever our pipeline is slow, we reach out to local companies and just say, hey, I'm local to Phoenix, and I just want to let you know that we're offering something of value in order to educate business owners on what matters in getting results online. And if you have a web designer, feel free to reach out to them and send the information over to them. And they're like, wow, okay, this guy's not trying to sell us. And we're able to provide this information to them. And oftentimes they pass it on to their web people. And oftentimes they reach out to us and say something like, well, my web guy wasn't proactive, or he's kind of been MIA and he's never talked to us about these things. We'd love to have a conversation, right? And then it's more organic, and you're delivering value up front. It's not a sales pitch, and you get better results. All right. If there's any questions, feel free to ask them, and I'll move on to the next section.
V had a question, Cliff, about different social media groups. Are there some that you found that are higher value than others? Specifically, hey, people that when we do lead generation in Facebook, we find that they're looking to have a site built cheaply. Or services done cheaply, as opposed to other, and maybe it's more targeted Facebook groups on Facebook. Do you have any insight into that?
Definitely. That's a great question. So you've all obviously identified the challenge that comes with that, right? So what we do is this. The first thing we usually say is, hey, make sure, try as best as you can to niche down, right? So for example, home remodel contractors is one of the niches we focus on, and commercial contractors. So when we are working in that space, we're going to reach out to people and join groups on LinkedIn and Facebook where these people are hanging out. It has nothing to do with web design, digital marketing, SEO at all. I am just hopping in there and delivering value. Things like, hey guys, I've noticed that these ways, for example, with the home remodel space, I've noticed that, promoting an effective article on investing in your home to generate equity over time versus, an impulse buy on a kitchen remodel generates much more inquiries organically. So I'll post something of value like that in there, and I'll post some things, several different things till people start realizing, hey, look, this guy knows what he's talking about in this specific space. And then I will deliver something of value and then say, hey guys, look, for those of y'all that run, for example, remodel businesses, and would like to get, an evaluation and get 5 or 10 actionable ways you can generate more leads or improve your website conversions, just drop your email or drop your website in here, and then I'll connect with you, right? Nothing past that. And I oftentimes tell them that this is no pitch, i.e. there's no obligation, and that I'll offer a 20 or 30-minute consultation call just to answer all their questions. And that works really well. I've seen better results on LinkedIn than Facebook, but both work fairly effectively. This is no ads. This is no spammy pitches. This is going into a group, spending a couple of weeks, once or twice a week, 3 times a week max, just adding value. And then after 2 or 3 weeks, once people have kind of noticed that you post value, then put this in there and then again, present it effectively like that. Feel free to message me. I'll be providing you my information at the end, and I'd be happy to provide you with 1 or 2 specific templates that have already worked. All right. Cool. So I'll continue on just because of the interest of time. So those of you that are looking to potentially leverage this, if y'all have already used website audits, 3 areas that we've seen larger agencies effectively do this on a larger scale are being able to do PPC, so starting with social media campaigns, whether that's LinkedIn or Facebook, doing contests where you say something like, hey, this is local business month. We're doing 5 audits for free. Those of y'all that are interested, please submit your information doing that as a campaign. Again, always lead with value to get brand awareness and deliver value before you do these type of things. Paid ads directly from Google, right? So when people are looking for web design, do a PPC ad to a lead magnet landing page, offering the website audit. That could be either free with a paid consultation or free with the free consultation for the audit. And then the other one that's worked really well is BNI, Chamber of Commerce, local workshops, where you ultimately say, hey guys, come in to our location. We're working with 10 to 20 business owners for 2 hours. We're going to run, in essence, a website audit with you. We're going to identify your biggest challenges and then tell you how to ultimately fix them. You can fix them on your own, or you can use us to do that, right? And this is the local workshops is most oftentimes leveraged by larger agencies. I have seen solopreneurs and smaller businesses rent a space and do this like once a quarter, but the larger agencies, we know they do this on a monthly basis. All right. Okay, cool. So generating revenue. So we talked a little bit about generating leads. How about generating revenue, right? So the biggest thing I think everyone in this on this call should be doing is leveraging website audits of some sort with existing prospects that are in your pipeline, right? You'll close your deals so much faster and you'll close so many more of them, right? Because you're delivering value, you're establishing yourself as a subject area expert. You're building trust because you're not just trying to sell them like everyone else. You stand out from the competition. So make sure that you're using some sort of audit or some sort of high value system that can set you apart, build trust, and establish you as a subject area expert. It's a great way of getting you in the door, right? So for us, ultimately, brochure sites start at $3,500. Our average site is going to be $8,000 to $10,000. And so some people will come to us and say, hey, we'd love to work with you, but right now we only have about $4,000. And we know that we cannot do a complete redesign. So we get our foot in the door by saying, hey, guys, so look, here's the audit items that we've identified. And so let's get on a retainer, right? So let's just spend $500 or $800 a month for the next 3 to 4 months, and we're going to ultimately identify these challenges, make them go away, and then you're going to see results in your business. And after that, once you see the results, it's easier to pitch a complete redesign because they've started seeing value in your services. You've built a relationship and transactions over time. The other way is to do a productized service, right? So we have several people who just literally say, hey, we're going to do a $99 audit. Some of them do it for $3.99, and then we have others doing it at $9.99. And in essence, they give them the website audit, the report, and then they allocate specific hours towards solving the high priority items that are identified. A lot of people use monthly care plans. So for example, Brad had alluded to several people reaching out to him in his service in regards to solving the same problem over and over again. And ultimately, what had happened there is people like agencies like us, leverage the audit system, identify challenges, and then we leverage either our team or a third-party service like GoWP in order to solve those problems on a monthly basis through a website care plan or a retainer service. And then the best one that we love is the ability to introduce and cross-sell new services, right? So you have a customer, you've worked with them, you've kind of talked to them a little bit about SEO, but they wanted to focus on a website redesign. Now that that's done, what we do is with our website audit, like I said, we cover not just website design, we cover things like conversion rate optimization, SEO, page performance, enhanced security, and the list goes on, right? And so this is just a great way to be able to just start that conversation organically with them. Okay, so if anyone has any questions, please let me know. If not, I'm going to move on again. Okay, it looks like, sounds like we're good. So here, guys, I'm not going to spend too much time on this. Ultimately, this slide here shows, you know, the process we utilize for inbound and outbound. So in essence, we get leads that come in from different sources. Once they come in, we try to qualify them. That's step number one, whether it's a quick call or an email. We qualify them. Then if they are qualified, we run the audit. We schedule a consultation. We, in essence, spend 1 minute talking about us, like, hey, guys, thanks for reaching out. Ultimately, we know that you feel like we're a viable candidate to work with you. That's why you contacted us. We're not going to speak much more about that. I'd like to spend this time delivering value and showcasing how we can help you specifically. That's when we cover the website audit. We then sometimes cover ROI report, especially if it's a high value customer. And then we talk to them about the next steps. And for us, that is usually, if it's a small brochure site, we can talk to them about ranges. And if they agree with it, that's when we go into the proposal, right? Because at this time, we've given tremendous value. We've talked to them about next steps. But oftentimes, it's a larger site. We then take them through discovery, where we spend 1 or 2 or 3 calls going deeper into their business in order to then provide them with that $10,000 or $20,000 type proposal. Okay, so what I was going to say to you guys is we kind of talked about what it looks like to have a great site. So oftentimes when you deliver value, you establish trust, build expertise, people love that. So here's our website, here's our agency site, right? We have a call to action, we have our website audit right above the fold. You know, we have all the trust factors, we have case studies, everything looks really great, but we don't close 100% of our leads, right? Sometimes they're not a right fit. And oftentimes when they are a right fit, sometimes they want to look at things at a higher level, and they're looking at something that's really, really important. And how many of you ultimately charge on the value of the services you deliver, right? So one of the things that we talk about here is specifically, you know, running through some metrics, right? Identifying their monthly traffic, what you know, how many leads convert, you know, which of those are qualified, how many of them do they close, what's the customer lifetime value, and then that way, by using an ROI calculator, now we can talk to them specifically about potential numbers that we can deliver. So we have an ROI calculator, and we talk to them about the monthly bottom line and then annual bottom line of just building a website redesign, doing a website redesign and SEO, and ultimately what that can deliver. So now selling a $4,000, $5,000, or $10,000 website that can deliver potentially $13,000 a month based off of the traffic that's stated up here is a no-brainer. When you talk to them about saying, well, look, you know, we'd like to sell you on an annual marketing service plus a redesign for $20,000 or $30,000 for the year, you're now being able to anchor that with delivering up to $440,000 in potential revenue. And again, the whole point here, though, is being able to speak to them and get metrics, exact metrics, or at least estimated metrics, so you can give them an estimated return on investment of leveraging your services. So when we sell, you know, the $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 type projects, this is what we leverage and implement. And the difference here is that instead of focusing on services and talking to them about SEO or just web design, you're focusing on the numbers in their business and what your services can deliver. This helps you, or helps us, for example, be able to charge more based off of the value we're delivering, not just the work we're doing. All right. And
Cliff, a couple of questions here.
Okay.
On this, do you have something? Is this something that's included? Do you have this with My Web Audit, or is this something your agency just does after the audit has been run? And do you have anything that we can share with the attendees on this?
That's correct. So I am dragging over a PDF. Again, just like everything that we build, our system provides beautiful reports like this with all the information in it.
Oh,
right.
Perfect. Okay.
Or obviously we can provide this PDF and they can try to figure it out. All right, let me go back. Okay. So ultimately you guys will get a copy of this template, no problem. Does the application offer it? Yes, it does. Okay, and it literally takes about 30 to 60 seconds. We even have a lead magnet. So what is your website worth? And then they can fill this in and it gets sent over to you and it gives you a great conversation starter as well. Okay, because of the interest of time, I'm just going to go ahead and continue past this. Brad, I'm probably about 5 or 10 minutes out, all right? And then we'll jump right into Q&A. All right, guys. So I'm guessing those of y'all who have found this valuable are probably interested in seeing how this really works. So I am going to go ahead and pull up my browser and we will get started. So do we have a sample web? Was anyone brave enough or wanted to put up a website that we can do? If not, for the interest of time, I'll just pick one and we'll kind of go from there. All right, so Alex says yes. All right, okay, there we go. All right, so I got the URL. I just now need the keyword and the location. That's it. Okay, so Alex, if you could, okay, let's look at this. Exotic, exhilarating. This looks like amazing yachts. Let me move down a little bit. And let's see here. All right, the business is in the Virgin Islands. And what would this be? Yacht charters, Alex? All right, let's do this. All right, so guys, we're trying to do this in less than 2 or 3 minutes. You click in here. All right, let's go ahead and I'm just going to put in Alex as the primary contact. The brand name here is EXENIA. It pulls in the URL. The primary here, we'll just do YAPCH charter. What did I spell this out? Oh, yeah. Okay, and then Virgin Islands. Okay, boom. We have this. All right, so then we have things here like user experience. So we'll just I'm just going to quickly run through this here and look at what this looks like. Okay, I'm looking at, you can go through multiple pages, but here we have the company profile. I'm looking at the user experience. I would say, yes, you know what? This is a very captivating website. Okay, digital branding. I see the logo, white, blue. That looks fairly good. Relevant headlines and copy. So here they have a great headline, but other than that, that's about it. Like, I don't see like why you should work with us, the difference, why choose this, benefits, things like that. So I'm going to leave that as, nope, I couldn't validate that. It has a user-friendly navigation. That looks great. It's using beautiful imagery and video. I'm going to check that off. Conversion optimization. Does it have a unique selling proposition? I am going to say no. Exceptional, exotic, exhilarating. This doesn't tell me why I should pick them over someone else. So I'm going to be critical here. No. Trust factors. Yes, I saw some reviews. I saw some information here. So I'm going to check that off. Review. That's fine. Primary call to action. Over here, I don't see anything that says call us or here's a read more, but nothing specific to generate leads. So I'll give them the primary call to action, even though generally I wouldn't for just a read more, but I won't give them the secondary call to action. All right, now let's take a look and see here. I don't see a phone number in the header, so they're going to fail on that as well. Okay, no online, no lead form that I can see, no chat, no social sharing buttons to, like share this or add this. SEO right here, I'm just going to go ahead and type into Google, see if I find anything for them. Nope, so I don't see anything here. I'm even just going to put in Virgin Islands. I'm not seeing anything here, so I don't see. Okay, I see a blog. I'm going to go to their contact us page real quick. It looks like they have a form. Okay, things are good here. So let me just go back. They say welcome for the home. All right, perfect. We're almost done. So I'm going to come in and say, yep, no, they don't have a GMB. I'm leaving that. They do have a map and address. They do have a blog center. So this is it. Ultimately, if I had access to their site, I would install our WordPress plugin to do the backend stuff. That's it. I click run. Now the system is going to do a combination of about 40 automated checks plus the manual ones. And we'll come back to this in just a couple of minutes and we'll take a look at that. So I will now continue on with the presentation. Okay, guys. So look, I know we've covered a lot of information. On a 1 to 10 scale, this is for me as well as Adrian and Brad. Like, how informational, how relevant, how valuable did you feel this workshop was on a scale of 1 to 10, right? I just shared with you the process that has not only worked for our agency, but hundreds of others as well. And ultimately at this point, I just wanted to let you know that, when you take a look at this, oftentimes you may think of this as just another tool, right? And it's not. Your business and stool. So your business is like a stool, right? You have your business, and then you have sales, production, and services. This, in essence, is what keeps your business going, right? So every stool, for the most part, has 3 legs. And in your industry, or in our industry here, it's sales, production, and services, right? And there are plenty of tools out there that can help you with the coding, store customer information in CRMs, help you with support and ticketing systems. But at the end of the day, this is my web audit, I feel, is the tool that's missing in so many agencies' hands right now, right? This is the most important one, right? Without sales, none of the other stuff really matters if you can't bring in the money. So stop thinking about this as another tool, right? We like to tell you that this is not just a tool that measures reporting on SEO and performance and things like that. It's a sales tool that's focused around delivering value. During meeting 1, with your first interaction, the whole goal here is to crush them with value. It's going to make the sales so much easier. This is the leg that you're missing, right? The other ones are easy. You can figure them out. This is the one that, if you leverage effectively, can tremendously grow your business, right? So we ran an audit. What I'm going to briefly show you here is that ultimately you'll get over 40 points that matter. It's a combination, as you can see here, of manual and automated. So it's specific and relevant. There are lead gen widgets that that get audit information as well as ROI. We have competitive reports, right? So I'm just going to switch back over here, and let's just see here. Here's a competitive report, right? So similar to the ROI report, you can pick, and this in essence frames what the report is about, and you can pick 3 different companies, right? And your company plus 2 others, and then you can ultimately identify which areas need work. And this is a great way. So oftentimes people are like, I don't think I really need that. And then when you're able to speak to them and say, well, look, for example, your paid speed is 77 and the competition is 99. In this case, this is actually ours. But the bottom line is they're like, oh, geez, now I do need that, right? Or my paid speed needs work. So and ROI is a great way to do it. And let's just go back without trying to jump around too much. Okay, and then the awesome part is you can personalize almost everything, and it's crafted to convert. So someone had asked earlier, and I'll just kind of tell you, here's a testimonial from one of our users that helped them land multiple 20K plus projects. And here, you guys had talked about content. So here, and the ROI report. So this one is a landing page that we offer you the copy, and you can create a landing page in minutes and install it onto your site, especially if you use WordPress. Here's the ROI widget. So you can literally, it takes them through a step of 5 questions, and you can add this widget onto a blog or onto a landing page, whatever you want. Here's a ton of different email templates for those of you who are looking to reach out to someone. Here's an email template of reaching out to a past client, right? Long time no speak. We want to deliver value. Here's what we've done for you. Reach out if you want to, great. If no worries, no worries. I understand. If you don't ask, you don't get. So templates like this are built into place, as well as ones for LinkedIn and Facebook groups. And again, more testimonials. I'm trying to, this is not a pitch here. I just want to let you know that it does work. And we are offering a free trial at myweboudit.com. And this is a special promotion. You will not see this anywhere. Bottom line is, if you do decide you want to get onto any of our paid plans for 3 months, you can use GoWP LW. This is just a partnership with GoWP and Liquid Web. And thank them for this, guys. And guys, just before we end here, a big thank you to you. They have a special promotion for you all as well. I'm going to switch back to the report, and we can just kind of take a look at what that looks like and wrap up, right? So here we have the Xenia website audit. So when I click on it, I have no clue what the scores really look like at this point. But before I share it, I'm going to go into this mode here. So I can see user experience is 80, conversion rate 67. So a beautiful site like this has tremendous opportunity, right? If I wanted to specifically send a quick email, I can identify these areas. and cover them. If I was speaking to them in a sales presentation, I would be able to do something like this and run through this with them. And by the way, on the back end here, we have a way to email them the audit, and you can drag and drop areas that have failed, and then you can personalize it for them. Someone else asked a question of, hey, can we personalize the points? The answer is yes. So in here, depending on what plan you're in, you can turn on and off different points. You can actually change the verbiage in any of the different points. And if you have some of our add-ons, you can actually personalize the messaging while you audit it, which I didn't kind of show you because there's a whole bunch of stuff. The whole point here is just to say, look, guys, you guys should be leveraging some sort of audit system, some sort of way to deliver value and not just sell. As you guys know, there are dozens, if not hundreds, of web professionals or web agencies in your city, in your space. And so in order to stand out, just look at yourself and identify how do people connect with you. And generally it's by offering value to build that relationship and trust up front, right?
Cliff, Cliff, just
yeah.
a couple of questions. V asked if we can change the currency from US dollar to something else. Can
yes.
we do that? Okay.
Yes. So right now, and I don't know where they're from, but the currencies we support are the dollar, euro, and pound. Now, obviously, yes. If you guys are coming in and you need it supported, it's obviously very simple for us to add. But these are the three countries, areas in the world we're focusing on right now.
And another question: how long is the coupon valid for? Is it time limited? And is the 14-day trial, is that unlimited? Is it fully featured?
Yeah, that's great. Two questions. So in regards to the promotion, I would say as long as you're actively keeping this webinar and promoting it, at least till the end of the year. Guys, this is a value add and a thank you for you guys for joining, and a thank you to GoWP and Liquid Web, right? So this is not like, oh, it's going to expire by the end of the week, sign up. I'll just say that it'll be good at least till the end of the year. For sure. Okay. And then the second question, I completely believe I built this in our agency to deliver value. And so we hold back on nothing. So it's a fully featured trial. Okay. All right. So you have the agency plan. So for example, we have 3 different plans: a starter, a pro, and an agency. And you have access to everything when you get in here for 14 days. Things like generating a PowerPoint report, right? So think about creating a PowerPoint report to go in for a sales presentation. Literally, you can do that now in 15 seconds. I have a PowerPoint that I can take in, and look at this, guys, right? When someone sees you come in to speak to them about something like this, they feel like you've spent hours and you care about their business.
One more question, Cliff. Yeah. Danny asked about the manual versus the automated checklist.
Yes.
So yeah, can you give a little bit of a breakdown on that? What has to be done manually? What is done automated?
Yeah, that's a great question. So in the interest of time, if you go in and you take a look at the features page, we have a section at the end that outlines specifically what is manual and automated. Simply put, anything that you're checking is manual, and these are all manual, right? So you have to check them. We don't have AI, or there is no AI that can identify if they're using brand or good design. So at this point, these are all manual. Everything else that runs in the background, about 40 checks, those all automated. So when you look at user experience, most of these are manual. But then when you switch into SEO, for example, most of them are automated. Does that make sense?
Yes, that clarifies.
Okay. Perfect. So now you've kind of seen what that report looks like. You've seen the personalization. By the way, guys, there is, in complete transparency, we do have, honestly, thousands of dollars of resources, from call scripts and templates. And, we have, for example, one of our users, John Falk, generated over $40,000 in a few months of using our system. He gives his templates and videos. That's not available, obviously, for common sense purposes, right? But features and functionality, all of that is there. You want to build a widget to add a website audit to your site, or the ROI calculator, all of that is included. You can even integrate into Google Analytics to be able to then show them, in essence, the most engaging reports, traffic, content, where they're coming from, areas they need to improve on, all of that as well in minutes. Okay, so let me actually finish up. I'm going to pass this back on. So guys, myweboudit.com. If you forget about this code for whatever reason, reach out and say, hey guys, I know I'm from Liquid Web, I'm a Liquid Web customer, or I'm a GoWP customer, I've been on this presentation. Can you hook us up? We'll make sure we take care of that. And then I'm going to pass this back on to Brad, and he'll close out with the special offers that they have for you guys today, which are amazing.
Thank you for attending. Thanks for getting through with the first part. Have figured out why that happened, so next time that should not be an issue. So we also, Liquid Web and GoWP, wanted to make an offer for, again, just as a thanks for attending. So you can take 50% off of any plan at GoWP for 3 months, and that's the code you can use, Audit, at checkout. And Liquid Web, Adrian, do you want to talk about it, or I can mention it?
Keep the coupons, you know, consistent, right? So we're all basically doing a 50% off coupon for the first 3 months. The difference in ours is it's, you know, we really are trying to attract new partners. I talked about it during the beginning of the webinar, and so, you know, in order to take advantage, just go to liquidweb.com/partner-community. You can submit your partner application there. I actually have visibility to every single one of them that come through, so you know, it's the best way to reach out to us and get a partnership started, and you know, we can see how we can work together.
Again, realizing that there were technical issues that put us a little bit behind. It was around an hour without that, and I'd love your feedback on how valuable was this? What did you like? What did you not like? And then some ideas for additional topics that we can address. We can kind of pull our resources together and do some really cool stuff. So don't hesitate to reach out. You can reply to any of the emails or send a note, brad@gowp.com. So I think that's it on the kind of formal part of the webinar. We'll stick around. I'm not in a rush to leave. I know we're well over, so if you have to leave, no worries. But if you also want to talk, we can all three be here available to answer any questions you have. There were some that we had starred and kind of queued up that we can go over, but I also, you know, don't hesitate to reach out in the chat and let us know what other questions you have. I will, so let's see, figure out a good starting point on these. Something that Danny had asked earlier is when you're doing page speed rankings, I'm assuming this is for my web audit, what are you pulling those from, Cliff?
That's a great question. Right now, we leverage Google Page Speed.
Okay.
We have considered looking into GT metrics and pingdom as well. It's just a little overkill when you speak to a business owner. It just you know, obviously Google is the king, even though, you know, people may agree or disagree with it. But bottom line is it's a starting point for the conversation.
Perfect. Okay. And V from the UK also mentioned that he's happy to help on GDPR issues if anyone needs that. You want to post your contact address there, V, as well. All right. Let's see what other questions.
I have a couple in here. If you're good, I can go through them real quick.
Yeah, I think we've got one right now. So SEO tools. Can any SEO tools, other SEO tools, be integrated into this, like SEMrush or Ahrefs or any of those?
Yep, great question, V. So ultimately, our goal over time is to see how many of these different APIs we can integrate in. The cool part about our reporting system is that we export reports in a web HTML view. So if you want to pixel them or you want people to view it there, they can. We also offer the ability, for example, if you work with GoWP, like many of our customers do, what they do is they export it into a CSV file or an Excel file so that they can then load it up as tasks into the system, into their platform. Then we also offer a Google Docs report where you can export it out and then add reporting from other systems. If you're asking about actually integrations and application integration, we are looking at a few at this point because our goal over time is to be holistic so that, you know, oftentimes people use Ahrefs or people use things like SEMrush, but they only reach the top, you know, it's the tip of the iceberg. They're not using it heavily. And so we're looking to integrate into a few other tools. But right now, our reports can be exported into formats where you can take information from other tools and integrate them in.
Another question that someone had earlier that I thought was very interesting, and this is more of process that you might have some ideas on. When you show them the return on investment, when you show them those big numbers, How do you set those expectations going into some type of engagement? Do you have any strategies for doing that? People see, they see numbers and that may be what they expect. So how do you manage that?
That's a great question. So the first thing is this: we only show the ROI report to customers that have high transaction rates, right? So for example, to offer like with a home remodel contractor, in order to get them leads worth $100,000, for example, that might only be 5 or 10 leads a month, right? Because their transaction rates for a home remodel on the low end would be like 5,000, a high end could be 25 or 50,000. So we only run the ROI report when we work with customers that have high transaction values, generally over 500 a lead. Like we would never run that through with a barber or a salon or landscaper. A landscaper maybe, because the landscaper, for example, our landscaper, we pay him $100 a month times 12 months, which is 1,200, and we've been with him for 4 years. So
right.
That's $5,000 for the customer lifetime. So first tip, only deal with this when you have high transaction rates or frequency of transaction for that business. Second is, we've been in this industry for about 20 years. So I don't sell services that, I know we can deliver on. And for the most part, we're very, we're very clear about expectations. So we set them up front. For example, a crappy site, improving the conversion rate from 3.5 or 2 to 4 is not hard at all by implementing the proven process and strategies and steps that we've outlined, right? So here you have this list of things. It didn't just come out from nowhere. It's come from years and years of doing it, as well as hundreds of hours of research with other web pros in order to build this formula of success. And so when it comes to things like SEO, we tell them, for example, hey, look, guys, when you work with us, you might sign up for this plan, but you're really going to look at 6 months of time before you start seeing the results we're talking about. So we set those expectations clearly.
Okay, cool. Another question specifically about my web audit. Roy asked about what upsells do you have besides the regular plan? I'm assuming that was triggered by looking at the other information from John, I think, the letters and other things. But what is outside of the plan that's offered as an upsell?
Yep, that's great. So pretty much if you sign up, there's 3 different plans. When you sign up, and there's some features that vary from plan to plan. The Pro plan pretty much has everything except a white label link. Like you can have your own domain link, white label link for your reporting, and the PowerPoint, as well as more audits. But that's the biggest difference. And as far as upsells go, really the Pro plan and the starter plan, there's extensions. Like there's extension to an add-on that allows you to add your own audit system for example, if there are common things you look at for GDPR, you can build that in place and leverage it all the time with your reports. We have another one for the WordPress technical add-on. That's an add-on to do the audits outside of the 4 sections. And then we have the last one, which is a customized audit note add-on, which allows you to take personal notes so that you don't have just generalized information about a website. You could say like, your website looks good, but I noticed that, this color was off or should be used, or with branding, everything looks neat except your logo is pixelated. Like you could potentially add specific notes. That's pretty much it. All the bonuses that you've seen, they pretty much come in with all the paid plans at this point.
Awesome. And one more product-related question that Mark had. With using the Chrome extension, are you limited in the number of audits you can run, or is that dictated by the plan that you're on?
It is dictated by the plan that you're on. So it's, I believe, 10 on the starter, 10 or 15 on the starter, 50 on the Pro, and 200 on the agency. And we have this thing that's called audit buckets. So if depending on what plan you're on, if you need to buy a predefined set of credits to use as you go, you could do that. So you don't have to just upgrade just to get more audits.
Is there a Firefox add-on?
At this point, there isn't. So I'm just gonna show you something here very quickly. Check this out. So instead of the extension, we usually like to use this. And this is, for me, it's actually much easier than the extension. So you just go into the dashboard and it loads the site up on the left side over here. And then on the right side, you can do that versus the extension. So you could go to multiple pages. It loads up into iframe as long as that's possible. and you can do this. But right now, there is no Firefox extension. It is on our roadmap.
Okay, excellent. What other questions?
Someone asked about email. So guys, it's really simple. You can go into the SMTP settings, and obviously we've connected our email, but we've integrated with G Suite, Outlook, and then we have third-party systems here you can integrate with as well, but not random independent systems. But if you really wanted to, you could go to like the SendGrid and then put in your information. It's not that honestly, it's not that secure. We highly recommend one of the specific integrations here.
Email signatures, Cliff. Can you add a custom email signature?
Yes. So all of this. So for the most part, everything we do is white labeled and branded. So yes, you can go in and everything's, you can put in your information here. This automatically gets infused in. You can control testimonials. You can add trust factors, right? So then you can load in different areas. You have your CTAs. So you can say, hey, I can personalize customization. Remember, guys, this is not an audit tool. This is a whole sales process, right? So we've built in everything that's needed, from setting a timer to call to actions and being able to completely personalize all of that. And for the most part, this is available on every plan as long as that feature exists on your plan. I.e., for example, the Pro plan has competitive analysis, and so you can do this, but the starter doesn't. So you wouldn't see the competitive analysis tab, but you could still manage your own branding.
And I think I did see Mailgun there as an option, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Perfect. How many audit credits are needed per audit?
1.
Okay.
Okay. And then if you want to rerun it, then it would take another one. Here's the scenario why you would rerun it. Let's say you're busy, you run an audit, and they say, hey, we'd love to work with you, or it's an existing customer. You utilize a service like GoWP, and next month you want to report back. You can then run it and say, hey guys, look, we've solved those problems that we outlined for this month. Done.
Excellent. And Danny asked about your agency specifically. When you do this for customers, do you charge or do you give it away for free?
That's a great question. So I would say, simply put, at this point, no, we don't. So what we do is we do charge for discovery. So the way our process works, someone gets onto a call with us, we give them all this value, and then we talk to them about discovery. And so we do charge for discovery. Discovery can be anywhere from $1,500 to $3,000. And then we take a lot of the stuff that's in here and we build it into a discovery report. We don't charge just because we're not doing we're not selling lower end sites. We're selling higher end ones, and so we've seen that by delivering value here and then being able to sell discovery, they're like, wow, if these guys gave us this, what would discovery really look like? And so one of the things that we have done in here is we have this thing that's called summary report. So some people are like, dude, if we could even give half of this to them, most of our clients would be blown away. So we have this thing that's called a summary report. And by the summary report, you can actually say, hey, I'm only going to give them a condensed version. So instead of 80 points or 70 points, I'm only going to show them 15. And that's what I cover on the call. And then the rest of it, I would do, via, discovery or whatever you use. Right. So it's all about a sales process that works for you. What works for me won't work for you, or may work for you. But in our case, when we're selling the higher end projects, and especially when we're selling $1,500 to $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000 discovery sessions, then it really matters to deliver value up front without charging. It becomes, in essence, a hindrance to get to speak to these high value customers.
Awesome. Yeah. Discovery session and that process might be a good topic for us later on. That's good. So just a quick question, the number of credits, those are per month, correct? It's not.
That is per month. That's correct. So, that's why if you guys go to success stories, guys, like look at it there, you'll see people like, oh, in week 1, I got my money back. Or other people are like, during the trial, I was able to close people because honestly, when we did charge, we charged upwards of $399 to $999 plus for reports like this when we used to do it manually. Right now that we have it automated, that's the whole benefit of using this. It gives us a 10-minute sales prep time for a consultation call.
Excellent. Cool. Well, let's do one more question. We're at about an hour and a half now. And we will send out the contact information So you will have Cliff's information, Adrian's information, and my information to follow up with us directly on this. I don't think any of us would have any problems jumping on a call, talking through what we can help with, and specifics about this tool and about each service. Quick question: when using the lead magnet, so the embedded lead magnet, can you have that set to not show the full audit results?
Yes. So real quick, guys, I already jumped in there. So if you come in here, you can look at the heading. You can identify what type. We have different types of lead magnets, whether it's a hello bar or a page pop-up. But in the opt-in fields, you control the fields. And then for GDPR, someone had mentioned GDPR. You can even add GDPR in here if you're in Europe. And then under action, here's where you can determine, look, what do you want to do? Do you want them to send an automated email? Do you want to show confirmation pop-up? And then under the auto reply, this, here you can customize ultimately what you want to send them, and whether you want to send them the full report, the audit report, or you just want to send them a message. So for me, I don't do a lot of this stuff. I just send them something that says, hey, thanks for reaching out, right? Like ultimately we need to do this, and then we'd love to, we'll connect back with you. And that way it gives me a way to add a little bit more of a personalized touch. If you get like 200 leads a month, then you want to automate it, and we allow that here as well. All right, you add your own custom CSS as well.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for attending. Cliff, thanks for the great presentation. Adrian, thanks a lot for joining and for helping plan this. We really appreciate everyone being a part of this. So again, if you have questions, you will have our contact information to reach out to us directly. Thanks.
Thanks, everyone. Cheers.